In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to get started with the next project. Basically, we're going to be using color to create emphasis in an original photo. So I want to go ahead and load the photo first by opening that in Photoshop. And we'll just click on the image, click open, and there we go. Now, before we get into how to change the color of a part of an image, it's a good idea to decide which part you're actually going to emphasize with color. So we need to make a selection of that particular area. For this photo, I'm going to go with the area of the cross as my portion to emphasize in the image. So I'm just using the quick selection tool here. I have it set on 5 pixels. The brush setting is on a 100% hardness, and essentially what you do is just click and drag. And the quick selection tool, as you hopefully have kind of experienced, it does a pretty good job getting the basics. Good place to start, especially with a high contrast image like this. Does a pretty good job selecting the white of the cross behind these metal bars. So I'm just working on selecting the cross area behind this, in between those metal bars. So clicking and dragging. I accidentally got a little bit too much of this. Maybe I'll press the Alt button and just drag some of that away. There we go, a little better. And continue getting the inside of the space in between the bars, so the negative space between the bars, which is the cross behind that fence. There we go, looking pretty good. I want to deselect this, so I could come up and click the subtract from selection, but if you recall, all I have to do is press the Alt button when I have the quick selection tool selected on adding to the selection. I can just hold the Alt button and remove those areas that I don't want. So with the quick selection tool, it's a little give and take. If you find this doesn't do the trick for you, then switch to the lasso tool. Let's just get this little section right up in here. And it's kind of going a little too far there, but I didn't quite get this area. So let's zoom in just a touch. And I'm going to switch to the lasso tool to get a little closer here. So just like with the quick selection tool, if I'm on the add to selection, I can hold the Alt key and it'll automatically switch to the subtract from the selection. So I'm going to just get this little sliver right there and take that off. Looking pretty good. Maybe just this little section right there as well. They may have taken off a little too much. Alright, that's looking pretty good. I almost forgot this area up top. So we're going to start in the selection, come down and get some of that. Maybe take a little bit off of there, adding to and subtracting from the selection as needed. So it's a little bit of give and take. Almost forgot this area as well. Okay, looking pretty good. We'll add this to the selection, loop the lasso tool around it. And I can get a little closer hopefully here as well. Don't want to miss the corner of that cross. And that's looking pretty good. I might be a little bit off here, but that's a pretty good start, I think. And let's go ahead and take this little section out here. Remove that from my selection. And overall, that's looking pretty good. I have a couple of little problem areas, but for the most part, this looks like a pretty good selection to me. So if you recall, the last step, or the next step, is to either click the Select and Mask button. When you have the selection tools active, you should see a little button up here that either says Select and Mask, or it may say Refine Edge, create or refine a selection. So you want to click on that. And in general, I don't need to worry about my smart radius. It's really just a matter of smoothing the edge a bit and adding just a faint or slight feather to the edge. And we'll go ahead and send the output to a new layer with layer mask. Click OK. And let's try that again. A little bit of smoothing. Slight feather. And new layer with layer mask. And we'll click OK there. Let's see if that works. Yes. Okay, so basically this is isolated the background, which is not really that big of a deal, but that's not really what I want, so I'm going to press Control-I to invert that mask. So I want to have pretty much all this background area selected. And in the next video, we'll get into how to where to go from here as far as using a black and white adjustment layer and kind of playing around with moving the mask over that adjustment layer. So that'll be in the next video.